The first time Claire Matthews heard the sound of her own scream after the accident, it didn't come from her mouth. It came from her dreams. Every night, that moment replayed itself with cruel precision. The screech of tires, her father's frantic voice, the crushing silence after impact. Then, nothing. Darkness. Pain. And then the realization, days later, in a too-white hospital room filled with flowers and pitying eyes, that she could no longer feel her legs. Claire had always been active, a dancer since the age of 6, a top student, a sharp-tongued teenager with a laugh that echoed through any room. But after the accident, it was like someone had dimmed her soul. Her legs were gone, yes, but so was her spark. Daniel Matthews, her father and the billionaire CEO of one of the largest AI companies in the world, was a man used to fixing problems. His boardroom was his battlefield, and he rarely lost. But this was different. No money, no influence, no team of specialists could bring back the life in his daughter's eyes. The therapist said Claire had potential to regain partial mobility, but she'd shut down, refused rehab, refused conversation. Most days, she just stared at the ceiling or scrolled endlessly on her phone. The most expensive rehabilitation center in the country, mansion-like facilities, private pools, therapists flown in from Europe, and yet, none of it mattered. She didn't want help. She didn't want to live. And Daniel, despite his power and wealth, didn't know what to do with that kind of grief. Then one day, a janitor walked in. His name was Noah. He was quiet, average-looking, maybe late 30s. With warm brown eyes and a bit of stubble, he clearly didn't have time to shave. Nobody paid him much attention, especially not in a place filled with high-profile doctors and celebrity patients. He mopped floors, emptied trash cans, and moved like a man carrying something heavy on the inside. One afternoon, as Claire sat in her usual place by the garden window, headphones in but no music playing, Noah passed by with a bucket and broom. Something about her face made him pause. She looked like someone underwater, almost drowning but too tired to swim. He didn't say anything. He just moved on. The next day, she was there again. And again, the next. It became routine. She never acknowledged him, but Noah began to leave a folded napkin with a joke scribbled on it near the trash bin closest to her chair. Silly ones at first. Why did the scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. No reaction. The next day, parallel lines have so much in common. It's a shame they'll never meet. Nothing. But he didn't stop. Every day, a napkin. Every day, silence. Until one Tuesday, when he found his napkin balled up and thrown back at his mop bucket. But written in thick marker were 3 words. That one sucked. Noah smiled. He didn't say a word, but the next napkin was a drawing, crudely sketched, a stick figure version of her with sunglasses, riding a dragon. The caption read, "You looked bored, so I gave you a dragon." For the first time in weeks, Claire chuckled. It was small, almost nothing, but it was real. Later that evening, Daniel noticed something unusual during dinner. Claire wasn't just picking at her food, she was eating. Not much, but more than before. "Good day?" he asked, cautiously. Claire shrugged. "The janitor's." "Funny," she said flatly, not looking up. Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "Janitor." "Yeah. He draws stupid stuff." It didn't seem like much, but to Daniel, it was everything. Over the next week, their interactions grew. Claire never admitted she looked forward to Noah's napkins, but she began waiting for them. And one day, he finally spoke. "I used to draw like this for my son," he said softly, sliding the paper toward her. "He hated the hospital, so I tried to make it less scary. Dumb cartoons helped." Claire looked up. "Where's your son now?" Noah hesitated. "Gone. Cancer. He was 8. Claire's hands tensed. "I'm sorry." "Thanks, Noah," said his voice raw. He couldn't walk for months. But he kept trying. Said he wanted to dance again. Never got the chance. Claire stared at him, then down at her own motionless legs. "I used to dance too." Noah nodded. And then, so quietly she almost didn't hear it, he said, "If you want, I'll help you." Something shifted that day. He wasn't a therapist. He didn't quote medical textbooks. But he understood pain. He understood loss. And more importantly, he wasn't trying to fix her. He was just there, listening, encouraging. The next time her therapist came, Claire didn't say no. She didn't say yes either, but she tried. 10 minutes on the parallel bars. Sweating, cursing, but trying. Noah clapped once, grinning. Told you. Dragon energy. Over the next month, Claire changed. Not overnight, but gradually. She started drawing her own napkins and hiding them in the janitor's closet. Mini scavenger hunts he'd laugh about during lunch breaks. She practiced walking short distances with her braces. She let her hair down, literally and figuratively. The other patients noticed. So did the staff. Daniel watched from afar, stunned, then humbled. One afternoon, he waited by the mop closet, and when Noah walked out, he stopped him. "I don't know what you're doing," Daniel said, voice tight, "but it's working." Noah gave a half smile. "I'm just showing up." Daniel looked at him. Really looked. "Thank you." But Noah shook his head. "I'm not doing it for you, sir. I'm doing it for her." Just when things seemed to be improving, a letter arrived. A termination notice. Budget cuts. The hospital was reducing staff, and the janitorial team was being outsourced. Noah's last day would be Friday. Claire found out before he could tell her. She didn't cry, but her silence said everything. On his last day, he found a napkin taped to his locker. A crude drawing of a stick figure girl on crutches, smiling, standing on a mountaintop. The caption read, "Thanks for helping me climb." That evening, Claire refused to come out of her room. Her therapist said it was okay, temporary grief. But Daniel was furious. Furious that the one person who had made a difference was being discarded like trash. So he made a decision. He didn't offer Noah a pity job. He offered him partnership, not in business, but in purpose. Together, they would start a foundation, a place for kids like Claire, with trauma not just in their bodies, but in their hearts. Noah didn't say yes immediately, but he came back the next week, mop in hand. Just like always. Only now, he wasn't just cleaning floors. He was rebuilding lives. The early days of the Matthews Harper Foundation were quiet, almost invisible. There were no grand press releases, no flashy galas or headlines about billion-dollar endowments. It started in a modest space, a repurposed school building on the edge of town, with peeling walls, uneven floors, and the faint smell of chalk still lingering in the hallways. But to Claire, it felt like a sanctuary. For the first time since the accident, she wasn't the CEO's broken daughter or the miracle patient. She was just Claire, imperfect, healing, growing. And right beside her, every single day, was Noah. Not dressed in scrubs or suits, not carrying charts or medical files. Just a simple man with rolled-up sleeves, sleeves that often hid the fading tattoo of his late son's name, Jamie. Daniel Matthews had offered Noah every title, director, program coordinator, even co-founder, but he refused them all. "I'm not here for titles," he said simply. "I'm here for them. Them. The kids. The teens. The ones with wheelchairs and walkers and scars deeper than the body can show." They came in quiet at first, withdrawn like Claire had once been. But something about Noah's presence disarmed them. He never asked about their injuries. He never stared. He just listened. And in his silence, they found comfort. Claire had started leading the music therapy sessions, playing her keyboard and teaching the younger kids how to express feelings they didn't yet have words for. At first, she was nervous, self-conscious about the braces on her legs and the crutches by her chair. But Noah's voice would ring in her ear every time doubt crept in. They're not looking for perfect. They're looking for real. So she played. Some days were messy. Some days magical. But always, always honest. One day, a boy named Max was wheeled into the center. 8 years old, paralyzed from the chest down after a diving accident. He didn't speak, didn't make eye contact. His parents sat beside him with hollow expressions and desperate eyes. Claire recognized that look. It was the same one she saw in her father for months. And when she looked at Max, she saw herself. She sat beside him, didn't ask questions, didn't try to entertain him. She just started playing, soft chords, slow melodies. After 5 minutes, he turned his head. By the end of the hour, he nodded when she asked if he wanted to come back the next day. That was the moment she knew. Healing wasn't just something to receive. It was something to give, but it wasn't all easy. There were days when Claire relapsed emotionally, days when she broke down in the staff bathroom, gripping the sink and wondering if she was strong enough to carry others when she still felt broken inside. One such day, Noah found her there. She didn't hear him enter. He just waited outside the door and said softly, "It's okay to need help too. You gave your pain a purpose, Claire. That doesn't mean you have to carry it alone." She cried, not because she was sad, but because it felt safe to. And when she walked out of that room, Noah handed her a napkin, just like the old days. A stick figure of her, crying, smiling, playing piano, all at once. The caption read, "Even the strongest heroes need a pause button." Meanwhile, Daniel Matthews was going through his own transformation. For years, he had lived for deals, deadlines, and domination. Now he found himself slowing down, cooking breakfast with Claire, attending support group meetings with parents at the center, and occasionally sitting in the back of a therapy session just to watch the world he had never understood unfold. The first time he saw Claire help Max take a step with braces, his own legs gave out, and he wept openly in the hallway. For once, he wasn't the CEO. He was just a dad, grateful, human, and humbled. The media eventually caught wind of the foundation. A viral video showed Claire and Max performing a duet on stage at a local event. Max on harmonica, Claire on keyboard. It hit 10 million views in a week. Journalists came knocking, headlines rolled out, but Noah refused every interview. "Let them talk about Claire," he told Daniel. "She's the story." Offers for book deals and speaking engagements flooded in, but Claire only accepted one: a chance to speak at a high school where a girl had recently been paralyzed in a motorcycle crash. Standing before the students, her voice shook, but her message was clear: your pain is real. Your life has changed, but it's not over. Sometimes the person who saves you isn't a doctor or a parent or a miracle. Sometimes it's a stranger with a broom and a broken heart who simply says, "I'll help." Months turned into a year. The center expanded. A second location opened in the UK, followed by one in Canada. Families from across the globe wrote letters thanking Claire and Noah for creating a space that didn't treat kids like patients, but like people. Claire eventually regained about 50% mobility in her legs. She still used crutches most days, but sometimes she'd walk short distances without them, especially when playing music. She called those her dragon days. Daniel kept a photo in his wallet. Claire standing unaided at the center's ribbon-cutting ceremony, smiling like the sun. But perhaps the most profound change happened the day Claire surprised Noah with a gift. A framed photo of Jamie, colorized and restored, with Claire's handwriting beneath. "He helped you help me." Noah didn't say anything for a long time, just stared at the photo, jaw tight, tears rolling freely. Then he whispered, "Thank you. He would have loved you." Claire leaned in, resting her forehead gently against his shoulder. "He's here, in every laugh, in every note I play, in every step we all take." And so, the story didn't end with a miracle cure. Claire wasn't magically healed, but she was whole. And Noah, though forever carrying the loss of his son, had found new life in helping others rise. The foundation continued to grow. Kids who once came in silent now led workshops, held art shows, and organized fundraisers. And at the heart of it all stood two people, one who had lost her way and one who had once lost everything, proving that sometimes hope doesn't roar. Sometimes it whispers quietly, "I'll help," and waits patiently for someone to believe it. And so to you, the listener, wherever you are in the world, if this story touched your heart, reminded you of the power of quiet kindness, or gave you a sliver of hope when you needed it most, then let us ask you this: will you help us share it? Subscribe to our channel for more true, powerful, and emotional stories that uplift, inspire, and bring us all a little closer. Stories like Claire's and Noah's remind us that no one is ever truly alone. And you, yes, you, can be the voice, the smile, the helping hand someone else is waiting for. So please, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Because the world needs more of this. And together, we can help bring it.